Now attendance streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a new industry set to come to the Crossroads, what they're hoping to get from the county about their taxes. A local organization hopes to save lives during Blood Donation Month. And county Republicans get to meet a few candidates of upcoming local elections.
We have a weather system down south that's giving us a little bit of a cloud cover and drizzle. That might be with us tonight and tomorrow, but after that, it gets sunny and dry. We'll be talking about your temperatures coming up in a moment.
And tonight we had some high-level middle school hoops action at the St. Joseph Flyer Dome. I'll highlight these two games later on.
You're watching 25 News now after the Texans. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Shauna Curry has the night off. The Victoria ISD Board of Trustees is talking big changes and a big price tag this week. Tuesday night, the board will review a possible bond headed for the May 2026 ballot aimed at combining and upgrading several elementary campuses. The Bond Action Committee is recommending a plan that would cost at least $200 million. It would expand Torres Elementary, consolidate Hopkins and Dudley into a new school, and reassign Shields students to other campuses. District leaders say the changes could save nearly $2 million a year while modernizing campuses. The meeting starts at 5:30 Tuesday at the Victoria ISD Administration Building. A product coming to the Port of Victoria might soon be making waves around the world, and it starts with ammonia. New York-based First Ammonia Corporation is looking to set up shop at the port and today asked Victoria County Commissioners for a tax abatement. The request could mean up to 10 years of tax relief, and commissioners now have 30 days to decide. Economic development leaders say bringing First Ammonia to Victoria would be a big win, boosting the local economy while keeping safety and environmental standards front and center.
It's green ammonia. So it basically creates ammonia from using air and water, and there's no harmful emissions, and it creates a green product that will be exported to Europe for use as a fuel.
The first ammonia plant, when completed, will employ 45 full-time workers. The plant plans to open in 2028. First Ammonia's plant will be a $1.3 billion investment at the port. The need for blood never takes a day off, and right now the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center is urging more people to roll up a sleeve and help save lives. The South Texas Blood and Tissue Center collects an average of 400 units of blood a day, meaning that over 300 people actually donate their blood. Blood donations can be a difference for cancer patients, crash victims, and moms facing complicated pregnancies. January is Blood Donor Month, a time center officials remind the community about its importance. The South Texas Blood and Tissue Center says all blood types are needed and donating your blood could save someone's life.
The only way that a lot of these people are going to be able to receive treatment is through the kindness and the actions of a stranger coming out to ensure that that blood is there.
There are several ways to donate by hosting a blood drive or at one of the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center locations. Storts encourages everyone to donate blood at least once in their lifetime. No appointments are needed at any of the centers in Victoria. They're open 7 days a week on Mondays and Wednesdays from 10:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. All other days from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. After months of waiting, the Benbow Road Bridge in Victoria County is now open. The bridge in Precinct 4 closed May 27th of last year for a TxDOT bridge rehabilitation and widening project. It was estimated to last about 6 months. Drivers are asked to be cautious of a temporary speed reduction and occasional flaggers in the area as TxDOT makes final improvements. The Victoria County Republican Party hosted a candidate forum for upcoming primaries in March and elections in November. Several candidates for state and local positions were there. Governor challenger Mark Golobi and District 27 Congress seat challenger Chris Hatley were in attendance. Hatley is running for a seat held by Michael Cloud. Reps from the State Board of Education were also in attendance, along with many county leaders and State Representative A.J. Louderback. The trial against former Uvalde school officer Adrian Gonzalez now in its 5th day of testimony. A teacher who survived the 2022 shooting inside a Robb Elementary School classroom told the jury the attack began with what he called a black shadow with a gun walking inside. Arnulfo Reyes testified he prayed for the attack to be over after being shot along with his students. Gonzalez faces 29 counts of child endangerment related to the police response to the Robb Elementary School shooting on May 24th, 2022. Gonzalez was one of the first officers to arrive on the scene that day. Time to check on our weather, which was much warmer than what you saw in Pittsburgh tonight, but still, Mac Pettis, it was a little chilly.
Yeah, well, it's January, you know. We spent a month and a half in the 80s, and all of a sudden it feels more like the month. Tomorrow, about 63, and then 72, and then back to 63, as temperatures are going to feel a lot more like January for most of this week. Is there any rain in sight? That's the big question, and we'll talk about that coming up in a moment. Don, back to you.
Mac, thank you. More public high schools across the country are requiring students to take a basic financial literacy course to graduate. In tonight's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan explains what students are learning and how it can prepare them for their financial future.
From balancing a budget to learning how loans work, exposing your kids to financial life skills can help prepare them for the future.
We want to make sure that we have these basic skills to then adapt.
Billy Hensley is the president and CEO of the National Endowment for Financial Education. They work with local school districts across the country to incorporate financial literacy classes into their classrooms.
When I was young, we didn't talk about money in my home. We didn't talk about it in college. And when I got my first job, I had no idea how to navigate the benefits, the 401k, the match.
The NEFE conducted a survey last spring and found 82% of respondents who attended high school say they wish they were required to complete a personal finance class when they were in school. Topping the list of skills they wish they had learned, spending and budgeting, followed by saving, earning an income, and managing credit. At least 30 states, seen in green on this map, now have a financial education requirement. The orange states have a partial requirement.
In some states, actually, the requirement actually requires FAFSA, which is the form you have to fill out to get financial aid and student loans. A certain level of literacy is part of the financial education course.
Many college graduates are already facing the financial burden of loans. The Department of Education estimates current total student loan debt has topped $1.6 trillion. Hensley says these classes will help students better understand how these loans work. He hopes more states will adopt these courses. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
If you see news happening, call our newsroom at 361-576-0026 or send us an email at staff@crossroadstoday.com. Kerr County Commissioners today approved a significant step towards establishing a permanent flood warning system in Texas. This includes entering into an interlocal agreement with the Upper Guadalupe River Authority to implement outdoor flood warning sirens along the Guadalupe River. The funding for this initiative comes from Senate Bill 3, which allocates $30 million statewide for flood mitigation efforts. The goal is to enhance flood safety and improve alert systems following the devastating flooding events in July 2025. A traffic alert for drivers this week. Part of Dairy Road in Victoria is closed as crews work on a water line abandonment project. The closure affects Dairy Road between Zach Lentz Parkway and Hoover Street and runs from today through Friday, weather permitting. The work is part of a larger effort to remove existing water infrastructure in the area. Businesses and homes along the route will remain open and accessible. Drivers who use Dairy Road should plan an alternate route during the closure. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now. After the Texans, the U.S. prepares to tighten security for the upcoming World Cup. How their security is taking to the skies. Also ahead, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth visits Texas when and where he was in the Lone Star State. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security is being slapped with a new lawsuit. Minnesota and the Twin Cities are accusing DHS of violating the 10th Amendment. They argue that the unprecedented federal immigration operation is interfering with Minnesota's authority to govern, disregarding state law and city ordinances, and unlawfully commandeering state resources. Sherelle Hubbard has the latest on the story.
The Department of Homeland Security has responded to a lawsuit filed Monday accusing Minnesota politicians of not doing their jobs. That's after the state of Minnesota and the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, sued the Trump administration to put a stop to its immigration crackdown.
The deployment of thousands of armed, mass DHS agents to Minnesota has done our state serious harm.
Federal agents dispersed a group of protesters after a fight within the crowd on Sunday night. Or an ICE agent pushing a man who was blocking an ICE vehicle to the ground Saturday. All this after unrest over ICE agent Jonathan Ross shooting and killing protester Renee Good last Wednesday. One resident visited the site of Good's killing, adding to the growing memorial where she died as she tried to drive away from an ICE agent last week.
It's been heartbreaking, horrifying. I cannot believe this is happening in our community.
Residents and local government alike expressing grave concern for an immigration crackdown that's only set to grow. Around 1,000 additional U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agents are expected to deploy to Minnesota.
Minneapolis used to be known as an open city, as a loving city, and now it is invaded.
In essence, a federal invasion of the Twin Cities and Minnesota, and it must stop.
City leaders say they're committed to keeping the pressure on.
As long as federal agents are in our city acting unconstitutionally against our neighbors, we will continue to push back with everything we got.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
The Department of Homeland Security will invest $115 million into drone and counter-drone technologies ahead of the World Cup and America's 250th birthday this summer. The announcement has a new DHS office will focus on buying and deploying the technologies. The news comes in response to the increasing technological sophistication of drug cartels, which have used their own drones and cyber attacks to help smuggle narcotics and surveil U.S. officials. Drones have been a major security concern for public safety for years. The Trump administration reached an agreement with drug maker AbbVie that it says will drop the price of some medicines. Officials at AbbVie say they will offer these medications to Medicaid and consumers at the lowest price available in peer countries. Other medications will also be sold at discounted costs. Among the drugs that are part of most favored nation pricing include Combigan, which treats glaucoma, and Synthroid, a thyroid hormone medication. The specifics of the discounts were not disclosed. Analysts say it's too early to tell what sort of impact this will have on Americans' budgets. Pete Hegseth met with Lockheed Martin officials in Fort Worth as part of his Arsenal of Freedom industry tour. During his visit, he toured the F-35 production plant and addressed employees and the local media on defense plans. Then Hegseth traveled to Brownsville to meet with SpaceX officials. This visit shows the Department of War's focus on innovation and collaboration with defense and aerospace industries. Tonight, there are breaking developments when it comes to Iran. The images in the U.S. now warning all Americans to leave Iran immediately. The protests there growing more violent. More than 600 demonstrators were killed during this bloody crackdown on nationwide protests. President Trump's threat to Iran tonight and to countries doing business with Iran. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell reports from the region tonight.
Tonight, the State Department's now warning all Americans to get out of Iran immediately, as horrific new video captures the escalating bloodshed. Unarmed protesters simply calling for change gunned down in cold blood as the regime tightens its grip and President Trump weighs a military response to stop the crackdown.
We're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options.
While Iranians wait for help, agony and grief in Tehran as desperate families search through mounting body bags to try to find their loved ones. Despite an internet blackout, a handful of chilling videos are leaking out onto social media. Human rights groups now say more than 600 people have been killed, including 9 children, more than 10,000 arrested. What began as protests over staggering inflation and a currency collapse, now on the brink of a wholesale uprising. After making threats if the regime used violence, President Trump now saying Iranian leaders called him over the weekend, claiming they want to negotiate, echoing a statement today by Iran's foreign minister who said Iran is prepared for war but ready to talk. Solidarity protests popping up across the globe and back in the US. The FBI now investigating this incident in Los Angeles after a U-Haul truck plowed into a crowd demonstrating in support of protests in Iran, injuring 2 people. Police say the truck displayed signs opposing the views of the protesters. That driver arrested and charged with reckless driving.
President Trump says he's imposing new tariffs on any country doing business with Iran. The president announced the 25% tariff in a social media post Monday, saying the order is final and goes into effect immediately. The White House did not provide more details about the tariff and how it will be implemented, but the order could make goods from China, a major trading partner for both Iran and the U.S., much more expensive to import. The announcement comes as a human rights news agency says a nationwide crackdown in Iran has left over 500 protesters dead. Authorities cut internet and telephone line access last week. To get more news, weather, and sports, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com.
Well, good evening, everybody. We're looking at 50 degrees right about there, overcast skies and little drizzle, kind of a mist out there, but the mist is falling, but the dew point or the humidity is at the surface is too low for it to actually rain. I'll try and explain that in a second. 63 was our high today, 37 the overnight low. Sounds a little bit more like January, doesn't it? We'll be talking about what to expect for the rest of the week after this. Well, good evening, everybody. For those of you, headed out early in the morning, you'll have overcast skies and maybe a drizzle or a light rain. What we have out here is this weather system. It's a rotating low area, and it is going to be drifting over us. As a result, we're getting some of that cloud deck and a little light rain, which I was trying to explain earlier that I couldn't get it out real quick. We can have moisture at the top end of the atmosphere and dry air at the bottom. And as that rain flows into that dry air, it evaporates. So it really doesn't hit the ground, even though the radar echoes are returning and it looks like it's raining. So it is raining, but aloft, and not all of it is hitting the ground. But as that area of low pressure sort of spins over us tomorrow, it's a good chance, not a great chance, but it's a chance that there be some sort of drizzle to light rain in the area. And that's about it. Other than that, then northerly winds kick in and drier air rolls in. So whether or not you got any rain today, or if you got a drop or two on your car, you can see how it's been very light, and a lot of it not really hitting the ground, but a lot of it's sort of moving northeast with the flow of the upper winds taking all that moisture northbound. Now, this is all the rain that we had today, so it was basically less than 1/10 of an inch, but it did fall in the crossroads and then down south toward deep South Texas as well. So tomorrow is the cloudy day, and then after that it gets clear and sunny all the way into the weekend. So temperatures feeling more like January, 63, 72, then 63 and 70 and 65. Well, it's a lot closer than what we were a couple of weeks ago. What's really interesting is that now the whole map over North America has changed. Instead of it being stormy in the west and quiet in the east, it turned around. So high pressure is building in the west, giving them a quiet, probably 2 weeks, and the cold air is going to be settling here. Some of that is going to take a glancing blow over our area, but we really don't see a huge outbreak of cold air coming down into our area anytime soon. So that's good. They'll get some winter there, but this does not produce a lot of snow because it's dry air coming down. So we're going to be getting northerly winds, keeping us on the cool side after the system blows through. So there you see it. Tomorrow morning we see a little bit of rain. Whether it hits the ground or not, it's a big question mark. But you can see the whole system sort of rotating right on through. And so as it pulls away, then the north wind comes in, and that's what's going to give us the dry air for the next couple of days. So yeah, it'll be sunny, it'll be cool, but it'll be very dry, no real precipitation headed in our direction. So cloudy tomorrow, we expect a little drizzle and a high of about 60 down in Port Lavaca. And Cuero, you're getting up to about 60 as well. Not a lot of sun, although 2 or 3 rays maybe, that's about it. Otherwise, then by Wednesday, that north wind kicks in, blows everything away, and we're clear and dry and cool for Thursday, Friday, another front on Saturday, Sunday. So by and large, it's going to feel a lot more like January than it did for the last couple of months. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. And we'll toss it over to Maxwell with sports. Are we talking baseball, football, or what?
Mac, we are talking baseball because, believe it or not, we're only 3 weeks away from college and high school baseball getting ready to start up here in the Crossroads. And after the break, we're going to highlight Texas A&M Victoria baseball. So stay right there. So I know most of you probably stayed up to watch the Texans take care of business over the Steelers, and I'm going to talk about that game a little bit later on, but for the time being, I'm going to talk about Texas and Victoria baseball open up their 2026 season with their first practice for the year, and last year the Jaguars baseball team won 38-17 overall, 22-8 in conference play, and had a 26-4 record at home last year at Riverside Stadium, which is very impressive overall. Now they bring back some top leaders in their pitchers in Jonathan Jones and Cuero native relief pitcher in Jacob Baker. And they also have some talented outfield returning as well in Terry Burrell and outfielder Jackson Porcel. So earlier today I caught up with Jones and Purcell about how they look to improve their individual games heading into this season.
Back to keep the momentum from last year and doing the same thing I kind of did last year and put myself in a position to help my team win and do whatever I have to do to help them get to the final goal of the year, and that's to put a ring on our finger.
Today was my first day on campus last year, so it's 1 year anniversary from being on campus. So it was new. I had showed up and it was just like game time right away, and so took a little bit of time to get comfortable, and now I'm comfortable. This is home, nowhere else I'd rather be, so I think that this year this is going to be a big year. So
now both Jones and Porcell's kind of leadership that they bring to this team looks to carry on for another postseason run as they open up on the road versus Texas Wesleyan. It'll be January 23rd at noon. Now over to some Monday night hoops action where Our Lady of Victory girls and boys basketball teams played in the crosstown rivalry versus Nazareth Academy. So the girls game opened up with Nazareth Academy winning 20-17 as again Reagan and Julissa led the way for the Jets. Now Our Lady of Victory did get some major production from number 4 Jalen there at the end of the game. So after the game we caught up with 2 of the stars for Nazareth Academy about how they felt just getting the win tonight and how they feel it's going to help them going to the high school level.
Pretty good. It was a very emotional game. I've been playing with this coach for about 4 years now. It'll definitely be different playing without my girls next year, but I'm very stoked that we won today. It was definitely a hard game for all of us. We watched film on them, practice every day, sometimes in the mornings.
I feel great. I mean, beating OLB always feels awesome. Like, crosstown rivalry, but I know we're going to be friends next year. I think middle school basketball is definitely a good warm-up for high school. You're getting ready for high school. I feel more than ready for high school basketball, and I cannot wait to play for high school basketball.
Now the girls basketball will be against the Gators next week. Now as for the boys team, they played Lady of Victory afterwards, and this game was very close, but Lady of Victory get the win there 41-38 over Nazareth Academy. So congrats there just for both of these teams playing in the 1A kind of ranks right now. Now the 1B teams also played as well for both of these games, and tune in tomorrow night at 6 and 10 p.m. where our sports reporter Robinson will highlight these individual games. And I was saying earlier about the Houston Texans getting the job done over the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-6, and Don, their defense was lights out. Will Anderson made some big time plays in the game, and everyone else really did a good job just helping out, not letting Aaron Rodgers get some big time plays. So officially now the Texans with that victory will face the New England Patriots on the road. It'll be right here on KVU TV at 2 p.m. right there on ESPN and ABC versus the Patriots. So how about that win for the Texans tonight, Don?
Since it was a Texans win in the playoffs, we'll go a little more into detail. It was their first road playoff win ever. They got 2 defensive touchdowns, as you saw there. Woody Marks, the rookie running back, first 100-yard game ever. Christian Kirk, the former A&M star, his first 100-yard receiving game in 2 years. And now the Texans, with over 400 yards total offense against the Steel Curtain, going to Foxborough next Sunday. Awesome. All right, stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, a military vet gets his dog tags back after 80 years. Now he got them back after the break.
We got a good one tonight.
Your mom
did steal the show. Your mom, does she know she's all over the internet today?
I'm pretty sure all her girlfriends are texting her and sending her every meme and every clip possible for sure.
Tonight, after over 80 years, a U.S. veteran was reunited with his dog tags that he lost in the 40s. An El Paso man found the tags with a metal detector, before handing them to a friend that sought out Ewell Moore. The returner says he worked for 6 years to track down the World War II vet. Moore says he does not even remember how he lost them, but he was grateful to get them back. And to top it off, they said the tags looked brand new, even after 80 years. You know, Mac, you've interviewed so many military heroes here.
Yeah.
That's a special thing to have, those dog tags. You know?
Enormous. Well, congratulations to the founder who was persistent enough to get it all back. So that's pretty, speaks very highly of him. So congratulations to them. But the dog tags from...
I was going to say, I have my grandfather's dog tags up in like my room back in Ohio, and it's like you said, it's very symbolic overall.
That's very, very special. Well, folks, we are looking for cloudy and cold weather tomorrow. Well, very cold because it's going to be 63, and we may have just a little bit of drizzle on and off during the day, but then dry north winds come in on Wednesday, and it keeps us on the sunny and cool side of things all the way into the weekend.
All right, and it is January still, but it's 70s and 60s. Okay, we
well,
won't complain.
Sooner or later it'll get cold, you know.
Maybe not. You never know.
Yeah, well, the way things have been going, possibly.
Maybe the Texans can win in Pittsburgh in the playoff game. Oh, they did. They did. All right, and thanks for joining us after that Texans win. 25 News Now Sunrise at 5 a.m. Jimmy Kimmel Live starts now. Go Texans.